Hi guys, welcome back to CJ's Keto Kitchen. If you are looking for home style recipes made ketogenic that the whole family will enjoy, then you've come to the right channel. And tonight we're gonna have a lot of fun because we're going to make keto cake pops. So come along with me and let's get started. So I'm going to start with a medium-sized mixing bowl to begin my cake pops. You are also going to need some kind of small baking tray or a plate, something where you can put your cake balls to dry. So alternately, I have purchased a silicone cake pop maker off of Amazon. I mainly got it for my children so that we could experiment making cake pops because they really do like to be in the kitchen. And so I did get it for them, but it would also work in this recipe if you wanted to do something a little extra. What I like about this is that, of course, it's silicone and I love silicone, but it has the little spots for you to put your cake pops in so they can dry standing up. And so I might be using this as well during the recipe. I also have lollipop sticks. You could get these at the dollar store, you can get them at the grocery store, they're pretty much everywhere now. If you did not want to make this into a cake pop and you just wanted to make it into a cake ball, you could also of course do that. This is just a little fun and whimsical, and I'm fun and whimsical. So I am going to begin in one medium-sized bowl. For our cake pops, I am going to separate it into 2 servings, and I'm going to make one a certain flavor and one another flavor, but you do not have to do that. But we are going to begin in one bowl. And the first ingredient that you are going to need is 3/4 of a cup of almond flour. And I'm just using a silicone spatula. And I'm just breaking up some of the larger lumps. I have had some subscribers ask me if there is a substitute for almond flour. I do give substitutions sometimes in my recipe if you have a nut allergy, but some people are concerned about the cost of almond flour, and my suggestion is usually to visit a grocery store that has a bulk foods and just buy enough almond flour for the recipe, and it shouldn't be hardly anything at all. So, to our almond flour, we are going to add our sweetener, and I am going to be using a confectioner product. I happen to have Swerve this time, but I've used So Nourished and other brands, and I like them all equally well. But I do find that using a confectionery product in this step works well because it's going to incorporate into our cake batter, if you will. But since we aren't baking this, and this is a no-bake recipe, it just incorporates a little bit better into our almond flour than if you were using a granular product. If you cannot find confectioners, you can always grind your granular natural sweetener in a food processor or a coffee grinder to make it as fine as you can. So I have 3 tablespoons of confectioner's natural sweetener. And again, I am just going to incorporate these together. And this just helps everything to be incorporated before we add our softer ingredients. So the last powdered product that I'm going to add about 1/8 of a teaspoon of xanthan gum. And this is a completely optional step. I do find xanthan gum very easy to find on grocery store shelves. It will be with the rest of your leaveners, like your flours, your baking powders, and your baking sodas, and it usually comes in a large box. And your box will last you for a very long time because usually when you're using xanthan gum in a low-carb recipe, you only need a very small amount. Likewise, I only need about 1/8 of a teaspoon, and this is just going to help with texture. I'm also going to add about a half a teaspoon of salt. I really find that adding salt to my sweet recipes really brings out the flavor and adds to the taste of the sweetness. You really can tell a difference between something that is salted and something that is not. So to make this into a cake-like consistency, we are going to be using cream cheese. And mine is very soft, and we need about 3 tablespoons. Onto my cream cheese, I'm going to add a couple of drops of extract flavoring. I'm going to use a few drops of vanilla. I'm also going to add just a couple of drops of almond. I happen to like almond in my cake batter, but use whatever you enjoy. You could use either or just one. And I just want a couple of drops of that. You don't need much because almond is quite strong. I'm also going to do just a small squeeze of liquid Splenda. I enjoy using liquid Splenda whenever I'm using a granular erythritol product to help offset the cooling taste. But this is once again an optional step. So I'm just going to start working our ingredients together. It really does help if your cream cheese is quite soft so that your almond flour will combine well into your cream cheese, because you really want a nice batter-like, dough-like consistency here for your cake pops. If you find that your cream cheese is not soft enough and it is not mixing well into your almond flour, you can always pop it in the microwave for a couple of seconds. That works quite well. Okay, so it is pretty thoroughly mixed. So it does look a lot like cookie dough or cake batter, and that's what we're going for with these cake pops. So now, as I stated earlier, I'm going to take my dough and I'm going to separate it into 2 parts because I want to add sprinkles, which is the fun part, into this. But I want to do 2 different flavors. So I'm going to separate this in half. So now comes the fun part. I'm going to be putting sprinkles into our cake batter, and we are also going to put sprinkles on top when we are done glazing them. So I have 2 different types of sprinkles here, 2 flavors. These happen to be Super Fat brand, and they do have these on their website. It will be linked in our description box. There are also other brands of sugar-free sprinkles that you can find, and we do have some also linked in our Amazon favorites if you would like to buy them on Amazon. So I'm going to put rainbow in one and chocolate in the other. And I'm going to put about a couple of teaspoons into each bit of dough. And this is going to be fun because it's going to give our cake balls some texture on the inside. If you didn't want to use sprinkles, you could use chopped up nuts or chocolate chips or coconut, anything that you wanted. You could just absolutely go wild. All right, so there's the rainbow. And I'm going to do likewise with the chocolate and just incorporate it into our dough. Okay, I am now going to take a cookie baller and I'm going to try and get about 4 cake pops out of each flavor. So you should be able to get around 8 cake pops with this recipe. And I'm just going to put it into my hand and just roll it around. and make it as round as you would like it to be. And I'm just going to rest it here for now. So now I'm going to start doing likewise with the rainbow sprinkled cake pops. And we did indeed get 8. So I have 4 of the chocolate sprinkles and 4 of the rainbow sprinkles. So I'm going to go ahead and pop these really quickly in the freezer for about 5 or 10 minutes while we make our glaze, just to make sure that they're nice and hard before we start glazing them. So now we are going to make the glaze for our keto cake pops. So in a small bowl, you are going to want to start with about 1/4 cup of your confectioner's erythritol. Now to make it into a glaze, I'm going to be using half and half because it's a lot more fluid than cream. If you're going to be using heavy cream, you might need to use just a little bit more of it because it's very thick. So I'm going to put about 1 tablespoon of half and half in. Now I want to give this just a little bit of flavor, so I am going to put just a little bit of vanilla extract in here. So I just did a test cake pop here, just so that I could make sure that my glaze was the correct consistency, and it is. So I just rolled it around, and I'm going to show you how. So you just want to take clean hands, put it into your glaze, and just roll it around. And this is basically going to act as the glue for our finishing sprinkles. And then just place it back on your parchment paper, like so. Then I'm going to take a couple more sprinkles and just sprinkle it on top, and it should stick because of our glaze. So there are the 2 rainbow ones. I'm going to finish doing the rainbow ones, and then I'm going to move on to the chocolate ones. So there's all of our rainbow ones done. When we get finished glazing, we're going to pop into the freezer for about 15 minutes, and that will harden our glaze, and then we will be able to put them onto our cake pops. It's time to turn these beauties into cake pops. So I have popsicle, or not popsicle sticks, lollipop sticks, and I just got these at the craft store, and you can find them sometimes at the dollar store. They'll have them over in like the candy making section of different places like Walmart, Michael's, that kind of thing. And of course you can order them on Amazon. And I'm going to make my little cake balls into cake pops. You just want to push in far enough so that it doesn't, of course, exit out the top. And there it is. There's our keto cake pop, ready for eating. Okay, there is our rainbow sprinkled keto cake pop. And our resident taste tester is going to tell us what he thinks. Hi.
Hi.
So I want you to pretend like you're a child.
I never was a child.
I know. I think most people probably don't even need to be told that. So tell us what you think.
I just know that when I buy cake pops for my kid at Starbucks.
Yes, they always want cake pops.
They're expensive.
Yes, it's like $3 for one.
They're good. Creamy. Sprinkles give it a nice crunch. I like them. They're,
Cake pop down. All right.
These have been sitting out for a while, so they got soft.
Yeah.
But they're good. They're flavorful. And I think if people had kids, grandkids, it'd be fun to do. And nice little treat. I mean, I won't be eating these. Wouldn't be eating these all the time.
No, it's whimsical. It's
But
a treat.
Yeah, it's a treat. It's fun. And it's what? Whimsical?
Yes.
Yeah, whatever that means. Good job, man.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. I can't wave. Bye.